The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Be there, be there, be there. Come on down to the Lexington Fairgrounds where you can see Horus Lupercal with the Dreadnought the Beast taking on the boys in blue with their dread, the Gladius. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 112 of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Duncan. Tonight I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts.
Jack?
Jamie.
And John.
And one day we're all going to remember how to do our ABCs, but today will not be that day. Before we go too very much further, we're going to go ahead and pause for a shout out to our sponsors and to our patrons.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
And with that, we're back. Again, thank you, patrons, and thank you, sponsors, for everything you do to help assist the channel. And as a friendly reminder, coming up to Adepticon time, because we are getting close to that time of year, we do have shirts and hoodies available for your purchasing glory at heresypodcast.com with the link to our merch store. We will be shutting the store down after Adepticon for our however long we shut it down for this time. But before we go too very much further and into the important things, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to everybody who's currently playing or has been playing at LVO this past weekend. I hope you all had an amazing time. Hope you all had an amazing event. We've seen some pictures from people that have been posted online, and we're really happy that Heresy had such a strong, beautiful army showing, and we love that. Or at least I do. I'm not sure about everybody else, but I'm pretty sure they do too.
Yep.
And with that, over to John for his hobby progress. Take it away, sir.
All right. So this week during our hobby hangout, I was working on more terrain for Adepticon because as of time of recording, we gentlemen are down to 65 days till Adepticon. I know it sounds closer every day because that's true. So I talked last week about getting all the terrain organized. This week I burned through a couple of pair of clippers and managed to get all of that old Cities of Death terrain clipped out and organized by type. And then after I'd organized it, I've started cleaning it up, and I got 3 types of buildings cleaned up. I've got the last type of building that I'm working on cleaning up right now. In that, I'm also going to put a shout out to the interwebs. If anyone knows how to remove long, old, applied spray foam off of stuff, plastic or resin or whatever, and can do it without destroying the plastic or resin, I would definitely be interested in knowing how to do that. The ways that I always knew how to remove it was gasoline, and that usually eats plastic. So
I was going to say gasoline or acetone, but
yeah.
I was going to say
If
fire.
those are all bad for
Uh,
the underlying resin and plastic.
I was going to agree with Jack and go with fire also.
Have you tried shitting the bed?
Not this week, no.
Okay. I'm
Well-
out of options, and I'm sorry, John.
Yep. So the reason I need to remove spray foam is back when my back was a little better, I used to stay late at Adepticon and help people clean up. And one of the cool things about helping Adepticon clean up is you get to go through all the trash. And a lot of people, if they did really bad at the event, don't want to take home their army displays, or sometimes their armies, and they'll just throw them away. And so I actually ended up with a whole bunch of Cities of Death terrain through the years. And it was all badly painted, badly assembled, and some of it was held together with spray foam and hot glue. So
Oh, Jesus.
cutting the
that
hot glue
sounds
off wasn't the
easy.
hard part. The spray foam is the hard part.
I've got nothing. And I see where you're going with this. But last I knew, the only real option was acetone or maybe very, very high levels of isopropyl alcohol, high concentration.
Yeah, okay, I'll try that. And if it all fails, then these can be the bottom floors buried under rubble and stuff of the Cities of Death buildings.
Okay.
The other thing I did, I don't really have a ton of flat open space in my house because of all the backlog and the fact that it's a fairly small house. And so I called up my local game store and asked if they had a free table. And so I went over there and got to talking with Bill at Dallas Games Marathon, and we set up what the table's going to look like. And then I uploaded the pictures to our local chat group, and then we kind of shot the shit on how to build this table. I'm going to be combining a couple of the original ideas I'd had. So I talked a long time about making a highway table, and then how that kind of failed is because you can't really take cover behind anything on a flat highway.
Yeah.
And so this table is going to combine elements of that in the fact that the Daiso tiles that I've been buying are 6 inches by 6 inches square. And so if I put 4 of those side by side, I get a 1 foot by 1 foot square. And then if I put those in a row, I can get 4 foot by 1 foot, which will be across the table, will be lanes of highway on this city fight table that this Serpentor statue will have crashed down on and tipped over buildings onto. And so while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and build 4 of these highway pieces that we can use as bridges between tables at Adepticon or future big game events. I figure a foot across is a decent size for a bridge for gaming on.
Okay.
John, will WD-40 melt resin and plastic?
No.
I don't think so. Yeah, I'll try that too.
What I'm seeing for the spray foam is acetone and WD-40.
All right, I will add it to the list because I'm not going to be on this week's gaming or hobby talk this week because I've got a work thing in Orlando to go to, so I get to go mandatory fun days in Orlando.
Always fun.
Always
yeah.
fun.
And then apart from doing a bunch of the cleaning up of all of the hobby stuff for all these Cities of Death buildings, I'm down to the last little batch here of about 20 pieces that I'm going to be cleaning off today while we're doing the podcast. And that's pretty much it for me. Not a ton of stuff going on. I've got an event that we're going to be running at Dallas Games Marathon the next Saturday, the 25th. And so that will be the usual two games at 3,000 or whatever people are playing. And we're also going to have some Legions Imperialis tables going up as well. And so that will be everything there. I picked up a new hobby tool that I'll be doing kind of a preliminary review on later in the episode as we talk. But that's pretty much everything I've gotten up to, gentlemen. What about y'all? Jack?
Well, it's still been too dang cold to do a lot around here. So instead, I pulled out every single Ultramarines that I had, painted and that are done. Put them in on the new recruit as a living document of everything that is officially done and based and ready to go for any type of tournament. Pointed out how they're actually built. The only thing I didn't do, for stuff like that is if it's like a dreadnought or a Daredevil, stuff that I have magnetized, so it can be a lot of different things. I just, whatever it showed up as is whatever it showed up as. Same thing for some tanks that I have magnetized and stuff like that. But I did that, so I laid hands on everything, fixed some stuff that was broken. Discovered that apparently somewhere along the way, I lost a blade to a Locatarus that I'm gonna have to dig out of my bits box when I get time and paint and put a new blade on his sword. That's the nerdy stuff I did. The actual cool stuff I did was I hung up a new light in the Garage for hobbying, for once it finally gets warm in here. And looking around. Went through and organized what Imperial Fists I have done, and then organized a bunch of stuff. Literally this year so far has been this cleaning and organizing stuff. For whenever it finally isn't 17 degrees outside or whatever crazy number it is right now. Because I'm in the garage and it's cold out here. So cold that I'm going to kick it over to my other fellow Kentuckian so he can tell us how cold it is over at his house. Duncan?
Well, let me see here. I'm not quite certain how cold it is here at the house because I'm not going back outside in it because it's too cold for me to want to go out there. That said, right here sitting in my basement, it's a nice, warm 68 degrees, and it's perfect. But we don't need to hear about that. We need to hear about what hobbying I got done this week. So I acquired from other things that I already had assembled 20 different shoulder pads that I got finished, and I got the number of backpacks as well finished for the last squad of the Rampagers. So they're all painted. All the last 20 Rampagers are painted. I've got decals put down on half of them. Those are curing from where I did those on Friday. I will probably, once we get done tonight, I will put down 10 more decals tonight so that I can have them even closer to finished. So that way I can have the rest of it all done, hopefully tomorrow since I have the day off work. Get them all spray sealed or get them all varnish sealed, and then apply my weathering to them this week on during the hobby hangout and try to go from there and have them all done so I can call all my infantry done before day 60. And then once I've got the infantry themselves done, I'll start working on the bases, and then I'll work on the tanks because that's going to be the fun part, is getting the tanks done and ready. But at this point, that's all that I got done other than a little bit of back end stuff on some stuff that we were working on. So, Jamie, have you done anything?
I have. I've painted. That's about
Okay.
all I can do because it's been so cold. I've just been working on stuff that I've already been working on, throwing layers down on stuff, working them up to get to the where I can batch airbrush weather everything. Finished an Irredemptor squad, started on another Irredemptor squad, and then so yeah, that put me up to 40 of those, and then also working on 2 Contemptor dreadnoughts, and yeah, that's pretty much all I've been able to do. I haven't been able to run the printer a whole lot because it's been so cold. It's so cold right now that it's actually snowing here, and that's saying something with how far south I am compared to Duncan and Jack. And yeah,
Oh, don't worry, it's been snowing here today too.
I'm sure it has. We weren't supposed to get any till Tuesday, but yeah, it's snowing right now from when I was just outside a couple of minutes ago.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Other than that, I may start building up some other squads that I haven't really worked on before. So it'd probably be like either what do you call them, breachers or destroyer squads, because I have a ton of both that I've just not ever built or painted before. So may also do some more inducti squad. with it like another 1 or 2 of those as well, because I've got so much of everything else already done. So I don't know, maybe tanks. I don't know. Flip back and forth. Haven't decided yet. But and then I played Space Marine too. So that's it.
All right then. Well,
Well,
with that,
before we go on to news, we do have to announce that yesterday was the closing of the final submission for our 2-week hobby challenge.
oh,
So
really?
everyone that gets everything done by the 26th of January will be entered into the drawing. I've been keeping track of everybody in a spreadsheet as we go forward. So this is the 4th section for our first drawing, which will be done on February 1st. And as a reminder, the prize is a paint mixer. So this is, if you look at normal vortex mixers, go to Amazon, they're fairly cheap built. They're run off a USB-C power, and they're kind of crappy, to be honest, unless you go for a higher dollar value one. Hobby Lobby has been kind of swapping around all the different, if anyone remembers the craze a while ago was mixing and pouring epoxy resins over things to make weird artwork.
Yep.
All of that kind of blew away, and so now all those paint mixers are now on sale at Hobby Lobby. They originally retailed between $30 and $50, and I got a couple of them to give away for our prizes each time, as well as some other stuff that I happen to find as I'm going through my stuff. So that works very well as a paint mixer. It has a very large cup on it, and you can just blue tack the paint pot down, or pour directly into it, since it is it comes with a rubber cup in the bottom of it that you can easily pick up and pour out of. So if you want to mix it straight in there, or if you want to mix it in the cup itself, it works just like a vortex mixer. It's just built to last a lot longer.
Nice.
So that's our first prize. The second prize that I happened to come across while I was cleaning up this week is an engraver. So this is a battery powered, basically low speed Dremel tool that you can use to add details onto models, or use as a sanding tool. And I'll be posting pictures of both of those in the 2-week hobby challenge thread. We have a first and second prize. So a reminder again is everyone who did a submission during these 2-week sections is going to get an entry, as well as whoever is a patron for the month of February is going to get an extra entry.
There we go.
And then the next section kicks off on January 27th, and the drawing will be March 24th. On to the news. Our Sunday preview article this week is not super happy for Heresy. It's all the Eldar stuff that we saw previewed a few months ago during, I forget what event it was. It looks like there might be some decent stuff on Warhammer Plus. They're doing a Mech Boys workshop about building some of the Warhammer World dioramas. It looks like they're starting with the one that was for Skaven, but there's always nice to see what they use for shapes and things like that on behind those scenes videos. For this Saturday, the official drop was a whole bunch of stuff we've had previews for. So there was the Deradeo Boreas, which is the Volkite, Last Cannon, and single shot missile box set. The separate release of the Deradeo weapon sets. So the Deradeo itself is $85. The weapon sets are $30 a piece, which is not bad pricing considering what they used to cost in resin.
That's actually really reasonable comparatively.
Yeah.
Compared to the Dirty Bird, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the Arvis itself came out, and it's $80, which I'll admit, not the cheapest transport in the world, but still cheaper than it was when it was resin.
Yeah, but like the amount of them that you usually have to buy, that's a lot.
Yeah, your list is going to run usually one, because there's no other decent way to get a command squad up the table. Between 1 and 6 is usually what you end up running. So if you end up building a crazy list like I did, where I've got 6 of them, you probably want to look for separate manufacturers like I ended up having to do. I bought some Mantic cargo shuttles that were 30 a piece. The Malkador Infernus went up for pre-order for 110, and the Valdor Tank Destroyer went up for 90. Again, those aren't terrible prices considering what they used to be from Forge World and
No,
the
they're-
complexity
yeah.
of the kids.
Yeah, those prices aren't as ghastly.
Yeah.
But of course,
Heresy-
you're not usually getting as many of those as you would the Harvest. I saw somebody had like is there a possible way to get 14 of them in a list, like 3,000 point list?
Yeah, if you went with minimum size squads that take the transport doctrine, if it makes the elite choices or troops, and then makes them line as well. If you don't spend the extra points on the command squad, because there's really no need to, and you just
Right.
take minimum strength Volkite squads, yeah, you could probably get a bunch of them in there.
And they hold 12, correct now?
Yep. Yep. So you could take 3 Charonite Ogrins in them because they're bulky 4. And their minimum squad size is 3 as well.
Hang on. I'm sitting here doing some math in my head. And how much are they each a pop?
80.
$80.
So for ballpark a grand, you could throw down. Wait, how many did you say in the list there, Jamie? 14? No, you got to do more than a grand. You got to be right around $1,300 to afford them and the infantry required.
Oh, the infantry.
Yeah, because you have to buy the elite squad as well, not just the basic duty squad.
Yeah, so you'd have to be right around $1,400 just to have all the flyers and the guys that go inside of them. Jeez, that's a little bit much.
And
Not even counting trying to transport it.
Now you know why a whole lot of people really don't play Solar Aux. That's the numbers versus the math just usually don't add up.
No, that math right there is a little rude.
And considering it's 75 points for the thing.
Yep. So you're paying more than $1 a point, at
Yeah.
least in the United States.
They don't show the base that it comes on, so I thought that was a little weird.
Is their new fancy little curved base thing with the ball on top?
I haven't seen the base yet, but yeah, they do have multiple new sizes of the curvy bases.
Yep.
I'm looking at 2 or 3 of them right now. They're on my desk. I like the old Valkyrie stand, but it's a little big.
Yeah,
it was a lot easier to pin. So this week's Heresy Thursday article was the Harvest itself. And then Thursday evening, we had the LVO preview, which went through a whole bunch of different things. Technically, there was no Heresy on the docket, but we ended up getting the Senator Calyx preview online, which was kind of nice. There was also a whole bunch of Emperor's Children reveals. I know a couple of the groups I was in were salivating to use some of these guys as part of conversion fodder for some of the things.
Yep.
I know specifically the Lord Exultant comes with a really weird looking cape that I kind of want to steal for maybe a Triarch or something like that. Somebody that's really high level and looks cool.
I am not bashing any of the new Emperor's Children stuff, because if you like it, you like it. Like, not no bad blood there. But the Lucas the Eternal model, his head looks very like Gene Stiller culty, or is that just me?
It's not just you. That one's weird, as well as all of the cone head heads. They really some of the heads are just odd. Like there's one of them that looks very Clockwork Orange, which I kind of like.
It's been the running theme with the Emperor's Children stuff that they've released so far, like the previews at least, on this new set or the sets or whatever. And same thing with with the Primarch as well. I mean, the heads have all kind of been
Yeah.
Not to say the rest of the bodies aren't, the sculpt on the bodies is not incredible, but like the heads have been kind of like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, their tactical Marines are very differently posed.
Yeah,
like it's like they're trying to, I don't know, enjoy war or something. They're very oddly dynamic, but not dynamic in a take names kind of way. It's really odd. I thought the weirder things was like those noise pistols seem to have multiple different ways of feeding. The nice symbol as part of your bone structure in some of the heads is a little odd. There's some really weird choices.
So I'm not saying that I dislike it at all. There are definitely some interesting choices in how they did the specific sculpt, and the bone structure is definitely kind of the one that got to me as well, John, because some of that looked a little off.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm really kind of enjoying these. And I definitely wouldn't have a problem if somebody were to use it as the tainted late Heresy Emperor's Children for an army.
Well, I mean, they were the first ones to fall, so I mean, like they kind of
not the first, but one of the first. They were the
One
first
of-
ones
yeah,
to
they
truly
were
descend
the
into
farthest.
nut job.
They
Yeah,
went the
they
farthest, fastest.
they went
I think.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'd
I
be good for
definitely
black shields if you want to do like the freak show, gene rots and things like that. You can do a lot with that.
Yep.
There's a lot of conversion possibilities in these.
Yeah, there
same
is
way
absolutely.
Same way with the Ash Waste that came out for Necromunda. They're getting a bunch of new kind of close combat characters, as well as some little boring bugs and a weapon set. And then they added on to some of the Ash Waste terrain. They made the Ash Waste tab block. They added on to a bunch of armor plates, a bunch of guns and stuff to make it a armored up hab block. And then they're releasing the broken ZM tiles as a 3-pack box, which will be interesting to see what the savings is on that box.
Hold on, what? Broken Zem? I didn't see that.
Well, it's just the normal. So the broken ZM tiles, it's like broken walls and broken doors and stuff, came out a couple months ago. This is just a repack of 3 of them in one box.
Gotcha.
So it'll be interesting to see how much of a discount it is, because those broken ZM tiles are like either 80 or 100, and so throwing 3 of them together, it'll be interesting to see what they charge for that. That's really all the things we can kind of steal for Heresy, other than I guess there was the
Thanatar.
Black Library previews. There was a Cadian command set that centers around Captain Lesk, which is a character that they've had a few books on. I really like the Preacher and the Commissar that comes in that box. I'll probably be finding uses for them outside. So the Preacher comes with this big Space Pope outfit, and the Commissar is more gaunt than gaunt. You can almost see through the man. He's so thin, but he's got a really interesting pose. Yeah, where he's almost so thin he can't hide the power axe he's trying to hide behind himself.
Did we last episode talk about the Loyalist Herald Council?
We talked about the Loyalist, but we haven't talked about the Traitor one, which is brand new.
Didn't remember, so.
Yeah, so we mentioned the Loyalist one before with his washcloth on proud display.
Yep. Then there's this one with the Eye of Horus icon, like a metal icon rather than a banner, which is definitely an interesting choice.
Yeah, I like the armor that he's got on, like all the different segmented pieces that are kind of bolted on top of his armor. The head to me is really odd, like it's a cross between the Joker and
the unmasked head.
Joker.
Yeah, it looks like Heath Ledger Joker with the mask off.
Yeah, it looks like Heath Ledger's Joker on the face and Jared Leto's Joker in the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on the head, but I'm going to say this about the rest of him. If you clip off the helmet, if you replace the head with whatever you choose, and you replace the icon of Horus with whatever else you so choose, specifically like a banner from any one of the number of things we've already gotten, that body's
It's pretty generic.
It's
Yep,
There's
I
a
like it.
very generic.
couple
Yeah,
little teeth marks on the pads, like the edging of the pads.
yeah,
But
Yep.
there's
other
that.
than that, it's really, I mean, it's generic. I mean, it's
It can work for anybody.
yeah.
And
That
that
looks
axe
good.
really looks nice, honestly.
Yeah.
I would not mind using that as a paragon blade for various different praetors for certain axe-related legions.
Yep.
And I like the aesthetic of the chainmail
That
Patergius.
actually could go very well for a certain legion that you may be working on right now.
Yeah, they just keep putting out stuff for the traders that really makes me go, you know, I think I want this guy.
Yep.
I think that guy would look really good with some bunny ears on him.
Yeah. Well, I
Then
mean,
then again, I think he also would look really good with one of the older plumed helms for the Sons of Horus
yeah.
stuck on
Sure.
there as well, which I have a number of also. So I like this guy. I
Yeah,
like him a lot. He looks
they
suitably
the
brutal.
warrior one.
Yeah, he looks suitably brutal. I will happily acquire a number of this model to throw into the various trader armies I have.
He could use a little blood, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he could use a little bit of blood, but yeah,
let's go.
kudos to the designer on this one.
It,
I think I count him as a win.
Mm-hmm.
this would be
Yeah, I
a
think we've really been impressed with all of these generic console figures that have come out.
Yeah,
Yep.
they've been tight. Like
yeah. They've been ripe for conversion too.
mhm.
Pretty much
Yep.
all of them.
And if
So,
you happen to get the overseer, sorry, the trader overseer, and you're going to replace the head from the trader overseer with something else, throwing that guy onto this body or that head onto this body would make this guy absolutely perfect for word bearers.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
yes, it would.
Yeah.
Damn, more stuff that I really like.
We also found out where that mysterious Nurgle model was going, which I
Yep.
don't think they're ready to release yet, but they kind of leaked it out at the LBO because it was already out in the wild.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't dislike the new Nurgle model. That said, I also don't really care about it one way or another. I'm kind of
Yeah.
ambivalent. It's definitely leans very much into the 40K
Oh yeah,
aesthetic
Yeah.
rather than
it does.
The
rest.
giant oversized backpack's a little weird, but other than that, it's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Yeah, the
The
oversized
massive
backpack felt different.
I
Yeah, I
guess
don't
I
think they're
will.
ready to release that yet, and they just kind of did it because it's already out.
Yeah. So that's really all of our GW releases. I just noticed that they didn't really put up an article for it, but they dropped a how to paint the interior of your Arvis video on YouTube, which goes through and
Ooh.
shows off all of the nice interior detail. I read a view on Screws and Brews that says the entire interior is detailed. You can have the seats up or down, and each seat comes with a little heads-up display and a bunch of other cool stuff. And so it's nice to see this in the videos they go through, and they actually do a decent job of making sure it's nice and rusty and well used on the inside. So definitely some cool tips in there. From GW officially. So we talked a little bit last time about the weird Starforged Aquila badge that came out. Will contacted me and he signed up for their email accounting, and they sent out a coupon in the email that says if you use the coupon code Aquila, you get the $1,000 pin for free if you spend $50.
Wait. Hold on. The $1,000 pin they're giving away if you give them $50 and use that code.
Yep. And I can confirm that this works. I ordered one myself this week. So it says free gift this month please use the coupon code in your email. And I thought that was tied to the other $1,000 coupon code that they talked about, but apparently this is completely separate from that and it's tied to something else. So I don't know how long this coupon code lasts, but it's just the word Aquila, Aquila. If you spend $50, you get as long as it's in your cart, you get it for free.
All right.
And that's really been everything that comes out officially from GW. War Games Atlantic dropped a new plastic sprue of heavy weapons that you can steal for militia crews. And if there's anything else on Kickstarters or things like that are going on right now.
I do know that the guys over at Daka Store are getting ready to launch their next Millennium Wars Kickstarter. This one with a Salamander stand-in and a Word Bearer stand-in, both of which the preliminary artwork and stuff look really interesting for. So those will be more guys on Kickstarter, but they definitely look interesting.
War Games Exclusive is doing their Patreon STL, and they've come out with a tech guard replacement. So if anyone knows the Skitarii tech guard, or the ones with the big tower shields and prods, their replacements make them all look like 1920s British police with giant tower shields.
Who was that?
War Games Exclusive. They're out of Eastern Europe.
Give me 1 second. I'm checking one thing.
And that is really all of the kind of heresy adjacent Kickstarter news that I've got.
I still haven't been able to find anything, unfortunately, for the oh dang nabbit, what was the book called? Nah, dang nabbit, the brain's it's not even showing up in my brain right now. But the Era of Ruin, I haven't been able to find anything on that most recently, any new updates on like ISBN sites or anything. Unfortunately, because I keep waiting for that to come out because I've been told by two people that they have heard that it may get announced at Adepticon. So that is interesting to me that two people who I don't really know if they've heard it or if that's just them wish listing, but I was told that that might very well be part of the announcement to go with whatever announcements they're going to make about stuff for over the summer. So we will
there was
see.
a little. I heard there was a little that may have gotten leaked out at LVO too, but I'm not sure we should talk about that. So
yeah.
So I will go ahead and do the preliminary tool review that I talked with you all about
Do
earlier,
you
and then
want
we'll
to talk
go on
about
to our
Pop
main topic.
and the two
Yeah.
models he
yeah.
released?
I completely missed that. Yeah.
I can't even begin to pronounce either one of these names. Cat Moore and then Creany of Kata.
So we've got Serenia of Acte, which is supposed to be a stand-in for Cyrene, aka spoiler alert Morgana. The further you get into the Siege of Terra novels, and what was
Wasn't
the
that
other
King
one?
Arthur's sister?
Yeah, sure, yes. Morgana Le Fay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, it's not Morgana, it's Moriana.
Okay.
So
that's better.
my bad. We also have Cat Mora, who everything just gets weird. The further you go into the Siege of Terra novels, and the Argonauts and everything kind of becomes really weird. But these two are definitely integral parts of the John Grammaticus crew, unfortunately, and Oleanus Pius. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them at Adepticon, and I'll be getting some of them from him, along with some of the other stuff that I have to acquire from him at this point.
Have we talked about the
No.
No,
Mark? I was gonna say the special Mark Saturnaeus.
Yeah,
or whatever
we
he's
talked about
called.
those before.
Yeah, okay, then
Oh.
yes.
The other stuff. No, I wasn't talking about.
the statuesque thing that may or may not be going on.
No, I wasn't
No,
talking
we
about
haven't
that.
mentioned that yet.
Nope, wasn't talking about that. Don't know what you're talking about. Nope.
Yep. Nope.
Not at all.
None of us know about that yet. Definitely not.
But I think just looking at the two models along with the other two he's done, they look fantastic. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
So what? Okay, can you explain to me what the Argonaut part of it is? Is it like a set?
Yeah,
the
so
Argon-
in the Siege of Terra book, John Grammaticus and All Pearson team up with a bunch of other characters that have come. Some of them are perpetual, some of them are just reoccurring heresy characters, and they
Okay.
have to go through and help the Emperor in the end book. And then, kind of spoiler alert, they end up having to redo their own. Some of them have to end up redoing their own history for the rest of time, try to make sure that they could have gotten to the place to help the Emperor.
Except for All, because
Yep.
All, spoiler alert, doesn't survive the heresy.
Yeah, he gets vaporized. But that one we've kind of known forever.
Yeah.
Saint person.
Yeah. And then Cat slash more. I'm trying to think how to put this without being too nonsensical about it. Cat slash Cyrene Valentine kind of become merged because of psychic nonsense.
Yep.
That kind of sort of makes Moriana.
And they also help kickstart the Astronomicon and get Dorn out of his weirdness that he was fighting.
They ask Dorn for help for them, and Dorn helps them to then chop his way through parts of reality and the warped reality back to Terra to actually fight. And that's when he's deep in his crazy mental state of being screwed with by the Chaos Gods. Anyway, big convoluted bunch of nonsense. That's a very, very hard thing to track your way through. These are all characters who, if it weren't for their existence in the Heresy novels and the Siege of Terra, somehow their butterfly effect could have caused the Heresy siege to actually go for Horus instead of go the way it did.
Gotcha.
They're also kind of characters that some people have very, very differing opinions on. Some people like them a lot. Some people dislike them.
No way. People don't like certain characters written by certain authors in the Heresy.
Yeah, like myself with John Grammaticus.
Me.
I know. But yeah, it's not bad. It's there are definitely characters in the Heresy that exist that have parts in the story that are important. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, they're definitely absolutely cool, and huge shout out to Pop for making them because they are liked.
Oh yeah.
I'm really glad he's making these.
Oh yeah, so am I.
God knows if GW would ever get to it, what they would cost.
Knowing GW, probably $45 to $53 for each model.
I would put more money on them being paywalled behind a box set.
That, or yeah, like a bigger box set or something like that, and it'd be what do you call it? The experienced model edition, aka former Forge World.
Yeah,
Yep.
because
Yeah.
let's not, talking bad about GW in this case. It would only make financial sense for models that only a certain subset of a certain subset would want to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the only way that would make financial sense for them.
Yep.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. The only
Yeah,
way
this
it would
wouldn't sell
make
near
sense
as
for them
much
to
as
do
that
it.
Cadian character we were just talking about, or anything like that. It would probably be a Forge World exclusive box for, 150, $200 with a really, admittedly, probably have a cool display base, but that
Yeah.
would be the only way they could sell it. Would be like all the Argonauts together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they did that, and I actually could see GW someday doing that, just if there is possibly enough call for it. That would absolutely be something that would be interesting to see done.
But like an Emperor first.
So would I. I'd actually like to see all the Primarchs, the ascended versions of the Primarchs for Heresy first,
Yep.
including our good friend Ferris. I like to see his ascended version.
Jesus.
Would that be like some sort of Necron construct? No.
Nah, it'd just
So-
be a head on a base. That'd be all. I'm fine with that.
Puppet strings in the hand on a chair.
Yep. And good throwback to that series of books. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't have a
All
problem with that.
Okay, so as y'all know, I like buying new tools, but this is actually an old tool that I've been looking for a while. I've talked before about Despei, kind of the Chinese knockoff of God Hand. It's spelled Despeiae. Just because they're the Chinese knockoff, though, doesn't mean that they don't make really good tools. So I've liked their clippers and their sanders. And for a while, they had this tool called the Glutton. It's a desk fan that you put on your desk whenever you're sanding resin, and it basically just sucks up all the resin dust. That way you don't end up breathing at all. It is double HEPA filtered, so it has a two-stage filter in front of the fan and behind the fan to catch all the resin dust as you go through it. And it was discontinued for about 2 years. And so they were getting really expensive on eBay because people really liked them. And recently, they've just decided to re-release it along with upgrading the hell out of it. So the first thing they added was Bluetooth connectivity. So it now connects to a brand new app from Despei called the Despei Hub. All of the advertisements for the hub are in English. When you download the hub, all of the screens for the hub are in Chinese. So after some clicking, I finally figured out what it means. All of the screen locations are the same. So if you can look at the instructions for the fan, it kind of shows you like click here for settings for fan settings, click here for LED settings. That's going to be the same locations, and you can kind of figure out what's going on there. The fan itself has two capacitive buttons, so they're not like clicky buttons. You just kind of tap it and it works. And without a sticker that comes pre-applied to this thing, you wouldn't know they were there. They're just kind of built into the framing of this thing. It also has a USB port in the front, so you can charge your phone or sander while you're using this device. Full power, the fan is extremely loud to the point where Duncan couldn't hear me talking through the mic when I had it on and it was running.
And confirm.
Yeah. I haven't managed to use this yet for sanding resin because I just got it in right before we started recording. But I will definitely make sure to do that for next time we record and do at least some minor sanding and things like that. LED wise, this thing is crazy. So it has sound pickups for LEDs, so it can kind of throb to whatever music you're playing. It can rotate clockwise or counterclockwise. It can just hold, or it can strobe and do all the bunch of weird stuff that you want it to do there. It's also a decent desk light just because of how bright you can adjust the lighting to be. So if you want to be able to sand and see what you're sanding, I know a lot of recent battery powered sanders come with a LED on the front end. If you don't have that, this desk lamp will almost work as well as that. Size wise, it's about the size of two rhinos side by side and then two rhinos high. So it's pretty small for something you can just kind of sit on your desk when you're sanding resin and then take it away when you're done with it. And then replacement filters are $4 a piece. Now the downside. Retail on this thing is $140.
Ugh. Okay. Yeah,
The
that's a bit
yeah,
much.
right. For me though, every time I've been sanding resin for the last year, whenever I do a lot of resin sanding, which is kind of how I work, I usually end up getting kind of like almost like flu-like symptoms for a couple days afterwards, unless I wear a mask or work exclusively outside on it. So if this helps me from having to do all that kind of stuff, it might almost be worth it instead of having to just be sick for a couple days after.
Yeah,
Uh,
I personally use just a mask when I'm doing stuff like that, but I could see the appeal of having a sander or a fan for that, so it would be easier to deal with, and you wouldn't have to worry about putting a mask on or off or anything like that. So,
yeah,
but
I
that price tag is a bit much in my mind.
I
you
did
can.
a box fan with a filter that has this taped to the um, sucky side of the box fan, and when I
Yeah,
sand or spray paint or not spray paint airbrush, I just do it in front of that box fan and it sucks everything up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This I like it because it's small, so it's something I can just plug in and unplug because I work from home and I work on the same desk that I paint and model on. So something that I can just kind of move out of the way when I'm not using it and move back into the way when I need it. It plugs into its own little DC out port. So, like I said, I'll give a review once I start actually doing some resin sanding on it. I got it from USA Gundam. I've talked about them before on the podcast, where if you sign up for their emails, you get random 20 and 30% off in stock items. Right now, I got one before we started. They're having a Martin Luther King Jr. Sale. So you can save an extra 15% off all our in stock stuff for that if you have the coupon code. So just different ways to save money on tools. The other thing I got from them is they call it cleaning gel. And it's a little container of sticky goo that you stick to your files to remove all the crap from to help clean your files so that we don't have to go through and
Ooh, that
manually clean
actually
them.
could be good.
And that was $4. So definitely different price ranges on their tools.
Yeah, I usually I just get the cheap files and just when they get gunked up, if I can't knock the stuff off on like a table or whatever, I just throw them.
Yeah,
Yep.
I get emery boards from Walmart, a pack of
Yeah,
6 for $3.
yeah, I get the packet like Harbor Freight of like 10 or something, like the metal ones for like $6 to $8 or something like that.
See, I like the emery board, like the nail ones, because I can break them and get them whatever perfect size that I need.
Gotcha. That makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah, I use both. I've got some fancy tiny files, especially for rounded things. That's what
Hmm.
files are a little better in that instance.
Army Builder
Like
actually
Emery,
has a set of metal ones that are like angled
yep,
and rounded and stuff that are very good for getting in the tight spots.
yeah. I bought some Death Bay ones that are really tiny and rounded, so you can almost file the insides of barrels and things like that for some of the steam lines that we get on the inside of bolters and things. So
Hmm.
they definitely exist if you want to go crazy. But anyway, that was the preliminary review of this fan. So I will definitely let everyone know what it's like when it gets to suck in later. But
They only have one. They only have one of the cleaning gel left. So interesting.
so you're trying to buy it now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I bought one for me and one for my dad since he does occasional hobby stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the fan's interesting. Like I said, the controls with the buttons themselves. It really just has kind of two speed controls, on medium or on low and then off, or on high, low and high, and then with the phone controls, you can go anywhere from 0 to 100, and same with the lights. You just have on and off for the lights, but with the phone, you can change the colors, change the directions, all different kinds of stuff.
Precision hand stabilizer.
They definitely
Interesting.
have some odd things on there. If you
They do.
if you get looking into tools, I bought a circle cutter from them.
I was like wondering what do you use
things.
for that? Glass? I mean,
They've also got like glass sanders that are really fine for doing. If you use the nice nippers, you don't have to do a lot of sanding. You don't have to use fancy files and whatnot. I will say the only thing I don't like about this cleaning goo is it comes in a bag in the container, and so you have to
dump it.
maneuver the blob out of the container, and it acts a lot like the slime that we all had as kids in the 90s.
I still have slime at my house because of my my kids.
Nurgle rot.
Nurgle rot. They've destroyed 2 carpets out in the living room because of it. Is it the fan you're talking about, the T1 Pro Glutton Sanding Dust Collector?
Yep.
Yep, $124.99.
Yep.
It looks like a gaming convention, like a gaming computer convention LED speaker.
Yep.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it really does. That's definitely an interesting appearance. Yeah, so that's neat.
That's all I've got right now for new tools. Duncan, what is our main topic?
So, in honor of certain things going on in certain places at certain times, one thing I think we can all agree on is that we have gone to events, big events, small events, and we have had fun, and we continue having fun, or else we wouldn't still keep going. But sometimes when you are going to those larger events, or even the smaller, you can encounter someone across the table from you who's, well, let's just say they don't really get quite into the spirit of heresy so much as they get into the spirit of they want to punch people in the dick, to put it mildly. I think we've all encountered that. Am I right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I know for a fact that I myself have been guilty of that before as well, until I self-regulated and corrected my errors of judgment and my lapses of kindness. And,
He put his Iron Warriors up.
yeah, okay, yeah, the Iron Warriors in first edition definitely fit that bill. But sometimes when you get into a game, and you encounter people who, in like a local group or what have you, play very, very hard rather than playing friendly versions of various games, especially 30K. And tonight would be a topic of how to socially adjust someone who is coming across as trying too hard and being too rude on the tabletop. And I'm not talking about going and list tailoring or something like that, but building redundancy into your own gameplay and list style that can be used as, in essence, a hard counter to something that your opponent is using and abusing for no fun purposes. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, one thing I think we all know, a lot of people use the standard, at this point, heavy support last cannon squad. They're ubiquitous. They're everywhere. One thing that a lot of people don't quite really think about sometimes, I believe, is if you've got that thing built up to be the nastiest, shootiest thing possible, and you're sitting there and you're pegging your opponent's tanks and all that, that's great. That's wonderful. Thunder means they're definitely going to be able to pop tanks open really easy with that strength 9 and make people pay for it. But if your opponent has a Death Star that they've dumped out and they've already massacred their way through whatever unit you have, you can sit there and take those 10 last cannons or 20 if you're Sun Killers, and you can dump them right into that Death Star. And yeah, sure, they'll tank some of them on the various bits of invulnerable saves, what have you, but it's still going to double out Marines. It's going to double out Solar Rocks. It's going to double out most things that people are going to include for Death Stars. And they're great for countering large, unpleasant things like Contemptors or piles of Sisters or even Custodes. But yeah, we all know that those exist and those have the ability to do that. But if you are encountering someone who's playing too hard and too fast and too unpleasantly, and you're using something like one of your standard lists or one of your standard games armies that you've built, how do you try to counter the try hard unpleasant gamer?
Alcohol.
Sure. Making a new friend out of somebody who could be a bit too much on the hardcore side is always an option that I will espouse.
No, I was
Turning.
talking about me.
Oh, well, I
But
was going to
yeah,
say the social adjustment of someone else.
But that
is a
that
bonus.
too, buying them a drink or something to lighten up the mood a little bit.
Yeah, kill them with kindness, really, because
Yep. I mean,
that'll usually lighten them up too if
I've
they realize that they're going to be in a dick.
It's been a while since I've had them. I've seen it happen because I've seen it happen to some of you at events. But like, yeah, when I used to play 40K, I mean, like, I would get that stuff all the time, and it was just, ugh. You're there trying to enjoy yourself, having fun, and yeah, you just try to lighten the mood up. I mean, killing with kindness, as John says, or yeah.
Yep.
I've had maybe 2 Heresy games where I've been like, okay, I really don't like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, he was asking for takebacks, but then wanted to go back like turns. Thing. Like, oh, I forgot to do my reaction. I'm like, okay, yeah, you can do a reaction. Okay, well, when you shot at me the first time, I wanted to do a reaction. I'm like, well, that was
2-3
at
turns
the
ago.
beginning of my shooting. That was at the beginning of my shooting phase. We're in the assault phase now, so I don't think we're going to do that. And then that apparently turned me into the guy, so he started being the guy worse, and I was like, all right, we're either going to out asshole each other here, or something's going to stop. And so I decided to try to kill him with kindness, but he took the lower road.
And sometimes that happens.
Yep, exactly. And sometimes you do eventually have to realize that you're not going to win the hearts of everybody. Sometimes life is going to suck. So, I usually try to either kill him with kindness or try to go as much as I can into, when I usually start the games, I'm like, look, we're here to have fun. We're not here to wreck face. This is just about having fun. And sometimes it takes reminding them in the middle of the game. Like, look, do we want to argue about this, or do we just want to play the game? I had that happen one time where it was in 40K, mind you, but I was shooting barrages, and the guy was arguing about however many people were hit with every shot. And about the 5th one, I put the template down and I said, look, we can argue about every one of these, or we can have fun. This is the last game on the last day of this event. We're on table 30. We ain't winning anything, man.
Yep, that's definitely a thing. Jack?
I'm too dang old to get my whiskers all up in a thing over tryhards. Just to make it point blank. Like, unfortunately, I still have the old Jack in me when I'm making a list, so I have options there for stuff. If people want to crank it up, I can turn it up and I can turn it down. But I'm just there to have fun. I just let it roll down my back. If they're having fun smashing somebody's face, I'm gonna have fun making jokes about their shoes.
Or talking about them as being German a year later.
I was going to omit that. Yeah, and then I'll get the game done fast, and then I will toddle off to Jamie or John or Duncan or Bri, and sit there, laugh, drink, and have fun until my next round.
Yeah.
Yep. I always try to build nasty or things that can be very useful to playing against tryhards in my lists, just because it's fun to me to sit there and make them um, to give someone a nasty surprise if they want to do it, and to be able to sit there and punch someone out on the table if they decide to do that. But I also like to have fun, and a lot of times if their way of doing whatever is the try hard, fine, whatever. I'll sit there and drink. I will pull out my bourbon and ale 8. I will get smashed. I will get smashed with my friends. I'll offer to get them smashed as well. But when you don't always have that ability because of whatever, just kind of turn your own gameplay up to 11 and let them see if they're going to be a dick, how much of a dick you can be right back. Because sometimes if they're playing it that way, they don't realize it, and then you turn it all the way up, and they don't like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was being this much of an ass. But sometimes they do, and they just it can be fun to do that right back to somebody. Um, and like Jack said, turning on the old Duncan sometimes can be frustrating, but sometimes I can get a kick out of it. Um, but I think a lot of it comes down to understanding your list when you're building your list, so that you understand what you can do or can't do when you need to. But that's kind of it. That's really all I got at this point.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes into the fact that you kind of have to know uh, what's in your list that can be terrible, I guess is probably the better way to put that. So like I can't be the asshole when I'm playing some of my army lists because they're terrible, but it's more like just making sure that the game is fun in that instance. You know, at the end of the day, you've got to find, it's like playing the games where sometimes you can't win the mission. You'll find something that you can eventually get points for. So
Yep.
just play the opponent the same way. Okay, fine. I'm not going to have fun playing this game, but can I make that vein in his forehead stick out enough by doing these things? Or uh, with the guy that was arguing about all the blast templates, he said, "Well, if you just want to quit, you can, because I need to go someplace." And I went, "Oh, there's my victory option, to make him wait till the entire event is over before I finish my game."
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I slow played the hell out of it.
Do you all know the old Mark Twain saying, "Never argue with an idiot, cause they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience"?
Yep.
Yeah.
I look at that way with being an asshole. I've been an asshole my whole entire life, and I will beat anybody at being an asshole. That being said,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the game I want to play.
Yep.
Nope.
That is not the outlook that I want to do. I want to have fun. But if
Yep.
if anything else is taken, if all the other options are taken away from me, I'm still deep down inside an asshole.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the biggest part of it is the whole social aspect of it. Um, if you're going to be an asshole, or if your opponent's being an asshole, be an asshole right
Mm.
back. And however you got to make it work is however you got to make it work.
Yeah. Don't immediately go to asshole if you think he's being an asshole.
Try
Only
to
go to
socially
asshole.
adjust them first.
Yeah. I always say I can go from the dial goes to 11, but I don't want to start there.
Yeah.
If you're going to be an asshole to me, maybe he's just socially awkward, and that's not him being an asshole. That's just him the way he is. I can come across that way when I first start playing people and start doing stuff. So it's just kind of realize that the third or fourth time they start arguing about something or call a judge for something basic, oh, maybe this is time to pull the old John Wick. Maybe I am back.
Yeah. And that's honestly a great way to put it. None of us want to have to do that. We all want to have fun. We all want this to be a fun experience for us, for our opponent across the table, who's probably a friend and probably a really chill dude or dudette. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
And none of us want to. But I think that about sums it up. If you gotta turn it to 11, turn it to 11. Otherwise, fly casual.
Yep. And realize that if you're at an event for the first time, turning it up to 11 for the first person you meet may not go reflect well on the whole event period. So you may want to keep it in reserve until you find out that, maybe that's the way these people play, or that's, in that case, maybe you want to look for better people or try to convert other people to be nicer. Make sure that you understand your surroundings before you start carpet bombing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that about sums up that entire topic. I mean, we could all belabor it at length about things you can use in various lists to counter whatever, but every situation and every game and every person is different. So
I know our friend of the show, Brian, used when he's done events, he always had like a theme for his army that he would be using. And like a couple of times it was like a really cheesy army. So he would offer people sliced, like cube or sliced cheese before the game to break the ice.
Yep.
It's just kind of funny. And people are just like, I'm lactose intolerant. Like Brian's like, yep, I see it's going to be one of those kind of games.
Yep. I mean, that's why I pretty much start off all my games at Adepticon with, "Hi, I'm Duncan from Kentucky. I'm required by Kentucky law to offer you bourbon because I think it's fun and I think it'll be a fun game and to break the ice."
Yeah.
And if
I
they're
hand out
like,
a little Cobra pin for everyone that plays me for the first time or second time. I make sure that, hey, we're here to have fun. Let's just play,
have fun.
push toy soldiers around.
Yep. Yep.
If you want to take it from there, we need to go somewhere else as far as mood settings. You don't want to take them outside and beat the hell out of them, but you need to do that over the table and do it calmly.
Maybe you can take them outside and give them a free duck.
I have heard that the ducks are free.
Yep.
I have been informed of this.
And apparently they like sunglasses. Don't know why, but the ones in San Antonio love sunglasses.
Ducks are gonna duck. So.
Yep.
There you go. Anyway, anyone else got anything else on this topic?
Do unto others as others do unto you. No.
Yeah,
I
think that's the best
be
way
a
to put
nice
it.
guy. Just be a nice person. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I
always try to make sure that I, solve it like an adult first.
Yep.
Like I said, make sure that they kind of, you don't necessarily have to go out and say, you're being an asshole right now. Is that what you're intending to do? But, sound it out. Make sure that people understand what the hell's going on. Like that guy that I played, the Heresy game that I had the guy as an asshole. I went to the TO and I said, look, I'm not having, because I knew the TO, I said, look, I'm not having a fun time right now. So I need you to understand that if something happens over there, that's what's going on right now. This guy is an asshole. If you team me up against him in another game in a future event, I will walk away from the table. And Tio said, okay, do what you need to do.
That's really reasonable.
Well, I think that about nails it on the head for tonight.
And I've had myself called out too. So there was a time when my back was really bothering me. I was being a bit of an ass, and John Stanford goes, John, you're being an ass right now. And I said, oh, sorry. Okay. So.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yep.
Anyway. And one thing that I forgot to mention earlier during my stuff that I've got done this week. I got together with Scott Switzer from old RFI and had a game this week, showing him how Heresy 2.0 works and played, and it was a lot of fun.
I missed that goofy motherfucker.
Yeah, it was fun. He brought his world eaters that still look to this day, look absolutely amazing. And I've threw out my my Sons of Horus. Had a great fun game. Abaddon got murdered in the face by a chain axe, excruciator chain axe to be specific, and it was just great. Loved every second of the game. Love hanging out with Scott. Miss you, buddy. Let's do this again soon. And
Miss Scott, man, he's an awesome guy.
he is.
Yeah.
You need to paint your terrain, Duncan.
Yeah, I'll get to that when I get the award leaders done. So, other than that, for this, the 112th episode of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast, I have been Duncan. And tonight I've been joined by my friends.
Jack?
Jamie.
And John.
And we hope you all have a wonderful week. We'll see you the next time. Remember to stay accountable to yourself, your hobby, and to your buddies. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye. There you go.
Like and subscribe, and see ya.